Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. And today we are joined by, once again, Matt Studio Animations. Glad to have you here.
I'm glad to be here.
It's been about I think the last time we did an interview here at all was maybe like it was about 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, it's been good. Definitely been a lot of projects since then. A lot of work's been done. I think I've made a good amount of improvement with my content.
Since then, I think we interviewed for, was it New Depths, right? Exploration footage number 4.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, so if we like go all the way back then, because a lot has happened since that point, Matt, and we're going to cover so much ground since that point because there's been a lot of progress. There's been international trips that you've done. There's been like so many other things. There's been amazing collaborations that you've worked on as well. And on top of all that, there's also been like a new pool rooms that was dropped about 6 months ago that we're going to cover and maybe talk about for a little bit. I'm more interested right now about the journey since those last videos, since 2 years ago, and kind of like since then. I guess what I want to know is like what have you learned, what has changed, what you have like worked on, and I'll kind of bring up a couple of topics here. But if you have a starting point, since the New Depths, you have worked on a collaboration with Netflix, correct?
Yeah, that's right. That was my next project that I got to work on after New Death.
And for that, what did you do exactly for Netflix? You worked on a series, a couple of videos for the Squid Game series for season 2 and 3. Is that where we're at?
Yeah, that's right. So when season two was dropping, they reached out and they said, they liked my content and they had this idea to make this, really cool video to kind of help promote the new season, and
Mm.
they wanted to do a like kind of found footage, liminal space-esque video, kind of in my style for the new footage. And so they asked if I'd want to work on that and collaborate with them, and I said absolutely. And I really appreciated how much creative control they gave me in that process. It was really up to me, kind of what happened to that video and how it was made. And so that's why I think, and I think that was reflected in a lot of people's reaction to the video, is just how like much in line it was with kind of the community's standards for these kind of found footages and like the settings and the pacing and all that.
Yeah, because you definitely do have. I mean, there is power in brand recognition. Like you definitely have a style, and that is a part of your branding and everything. And it's pretty clear to me that Matt worked on this when I watched it. It's absolutely incredible. I think I did a reaction for those. You may have been there. I did it for a stream where I streamed on Twitch and I did a live reaction to I think both of those videos, or at least one
Yeah,
at one
yeah, that
point.
sounds right. Yeah,
And
at least the second video.
it was phenomenal. Both of those videos are super well done, and but
Thank you.
it's so cool to me though that they gave you creative control uh, or that much creative control over the video, and uh, kind of bring us into like the set pieces. How I don't know how much information you can give us, but like you got those set pieces done like to a T. Like it looks super super good, and it's spot on for like what's on the show. And did they give you set piece footage or like imagery of the set? I don't know what you can talk about, but essentially, like I want to know how you were able to recreate that.
Yeah, for the most part, I pretty much had to recreate it just from scratch, mostly looking at like frames of the actual show.
Oh,
And it's funny because I'd gotten messages for certain scenes. For example, like the scene with the maze stairs, that very iconic scene where the contestants are entering and having their picture taken. And I
yeah.
got some messages of people asking me like if I could share my files, which I don't do.
Yeah.
But they wanted to know that because they're like, man, you got this so accurate, and I've been trying to recreate it myself. How do you get that? You must have had like some extra files or something. But the truth is, I just looked at the frames of the show, and I found pretty much every part in the series where they showed that set that I needed to design, and I got as many angles as I could to redesign it.
That's insane. So like you didn't, it's not like they gave you files or images of like the set itself. You just watched the show based off of their request and you try to recreate it the best that you could, and you absolutely nailed it.
You can do it too,
Yeah.
anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it. Everybody can cook, right? I guess.
Exactly.
I need to make my blender donut for this year. I still haven't worked on my 2026 blender donut, but the 2025 one I can probably show it in this interview. Hopefully hopefully it'll be a better donut in 2026, man.
Well, that's exactly everyone's New Year's resolution. Make a new blender donut and make sure it looks better than last year's.
Exactly. More sprinkles. So we've covered, I guess the beginning of the Netflix collaboration. You did the first one, and then you did another one. And I know that we spoke candidly beforehand in how you preferred your creative process and progress for the second one more so than the first one. Can you kind of give us an idea as to what you meant by that? Because I would like for people to know like why you enjoyed the second one more so, based off of your own standards for your animation.
Honestly, yeah, that's something that I probably need to think more about myself, is like what exactly did change between those two, because there's a very big change in the quality, uh, from mainly a technical perspective, but also like a creative and architectural perspective of like things I did with the lighting and like choices with that. But it was kind of just an accumulation of a lot of different things I guess I noticed after I released the first video
Hmm.
that I could have changed. Things like, getting the frame rate to what I wanted it to be, having a different quality and different color grading and that kind of thing. It was kind of just a lot of small things that I've been tweaking over time. And also kind of, sometimes looking at other content,
Hmm.
and not just Backrooms content, but just, like filming media in general, and realizing like, oh, this is why this looks interesting,
Hmm.
and kind of trying to reflect that in my own work.
Got it. And I guess that goes for me for like photography and camera work. And um sometimes you just can't really understand why you prefer something over something else that you've worked on. And you may never find out why. There could be some very tangible reasons, from like frame rate or color grading and things like that. But there's also sometimes you just had more fun making something than the last time. And maybe there's a little bit of that in there as well. I feel like there's been situations where I've had a lot more fun doing something more than another like project based off of one. I learned how to do something a lot quicker. Did you find yourself like being able to do things quicker from the first one? Do you think that that's also something that played a part
Yeah.
here?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think I've just become, much more kind of efficient designer. And so it was just definitely having it be like easier and quicker
Hmm.
to design these things out made it like more of an enjoyable process to work on.
And I think that helps us all like as well to like launch ourselves, a bit of a catalyst towards creating other things. And I know that we in this world, as we create things as creators, and as creatives, here on YouTube or Instagram or other platforms, we kind of get stuck in this cyclical vibe of always doing and producing sometimes the same thing. where I am firmly vested in the concept of variety. I love the idea of something being more than just, a couple of dimensions. Like I want something to have like a billion dimensions. I want something to just be alive in that way. And I can see from, your Netflix collaboration moving over to Clear Skies. There's a lot of stuff that you learned from working with Netflix during that time that played into Pool Room's Clear Skies as well. Is there What was your experience with the latest Pool Rooms video, Clear Skies, which came out about 6 months ago? If you guys haven't seen it, please go watch it. It is phenomenal. It is great. It's got an awesome ending as well. Just stick to the whole thing. It's just, again, your ability to create these like atmospheres, these ambient exploration journeys is just something that I love. And I love hearing about the process. I love hearing about what you did. Since that is the latest video on your channel on YouTube, I want to know like what sort of things changed about the process, rigging, movements, and anything else that you've learned that played into it.
Absolutely. So you can definitely just kind of see in the overall style, there was that big shift between the first and second Netflix video. And then you can kind of see that in Pool Room's Clear Skies. I basically keep that new style from the latest Netflix video. And part of that, I mean, really is like, in some ways, I kind of did just take my post processing files for Netflix and I used those directly for my Pool Rooms video. Because for the Netflix video, I kind of started from scratch on that workflow of like, what are the different things I'm doing with the color grading and the VHS effect and whatnot. And since then, I've kind of stuck with those for the last two videos I made because I've been pretty happy with how the videos are looking. So things like all the videos being rendered in 30 FPS, things like different saturation levels and using like the same, types of contrast and whatnot.
Do you do a lot of post processing? Like, do you do a lot of post editing when it comes down to your color grading, or is that again? I haven't animated anything like this before, so like, do you handle that stuff like within the animation itself, or after you render it, and you get it out there and you export it? Is that something? Do you handle the kind of like the lookup tables or the color grading after the fact, or is that done during?
I do pretty much all of that after the fact, and different people have different workflows, and there are definitely some cases where you want to do things directly in Blender and Blender's compositor because, Blender's compositor is going to have more information about the like actual 3D geometry of the video and whatnot.
Yeah,
Whereas when you put that into something like After Effects, it doesn't know any of that anymore. All it has is the video and the pixels. But After Effects has a lot more tools you can use, and the other benefit is that it's not permanent when you do it in After Effects because if you do some kind of post processing or some kind of color grading in Blender, that's just at that point baked into the video and you can't undo that. You'd have to actually redo the whole render. Whereas in
that's
After
true.
Effects, you don't have that issue. So yeah, I use After Effects and that's where I do pretty much all the post processing. And yeah, there is a very big difference between the raw render and the post process shot. And I can probably send you a couple side by side
Oh, I
comparisons
would love
that you
that.
can edit into the video, and you can actually see just how different it looks
Yeah.
with and without. I've actually on TikTok, I've gotten a lot of comments over the past few days with my latest video of people asking for some kind of behind the scenes. So I might do a little like split screen view of the video for like what it looks like in the viewport versus the raw render versus the post processed render because I think there's a lot of interest in that and like anything I can do to inspire, new people to get into Blender and 3D art or just any kind of digital media in general, that'd be wonderful.
Oh, that'd be great. I know people would love to see any sort of behind the scenes. I've from other interviews that I've done with other animators, people have asked questions like that, or they've even also asked questions regarding how do you get the reverb in this mall, and all these other things. And that's actually a question that I could answer as well. So that was something that I could give that person. But it's always really nice to have it's always really nice to have a behind the scenes look. One particular person that I hope that I can interview one day is Dylan Clark. Dylan Clark is the director behind Portrait of God, and that is one of my favorite horror shorts on YouTube ever. And it recently got picked up by Sam Raimi and Jordan Peele for a movie adaptation. And like
That's
Dylan,
exciting. I don't
yeah,
think I knew that.
it's so cool. And he's a part of that process. He's a part of the directing of the film, I believe. He is involved heavily in some capacity. But the cool thing about his channel is that he'll post something, let it sit for a while, and then soon afterwards, like maybe a few weeks later or maybe a month later, he'll put together a BTS video about how they created, that entire series, down from not just like how to make the thing look the way that it does, but the people that are involved in the background, the frustrating aspects of working in a studio that didn't have anything that or everything that they wanted. Like during Portrait of God, they had a closet that they wanted to use, but the closet was always filled with a bunch of shit. So they always had to like move everything out of the closet, and it was like an ordeal every time because it was like locked, I think. It was just like a big deal. So those are just parts of the creative process of any sort of project out there that I feel like everybody should see. And that I feel like that it's really necessary for us to have like behind the scenes stuff. Not to go into a tangent here, but it helps people see and maybe relate to the growing pains of learning how to do something. That it brings relatability to something that you're showing to people. It's
Absolutely.
I feel like it's really important for us to see that. And that's why I like doing these interviews, interviewing you, interviewing Lost in the Hyperverse and Kane and other people, because I want to bring that sense of relatability and that behind the scenes kind of vibe to people who watch, our stuff. Whenever I get to talk about, photography or video work, that's always a lot. It's always a lot of fun when I do that, like, on Twitch or something like that. Somebody comes in and asks me, how'd you get this to look this way? And I straight up tell them, this is how I do it. I work with curves, I do all these other things. And then I see them post and it looks great. I love it. And they do their own interpretation. That's the most important thing is learning from others and then putting your own spin on it, and eventually over time you will find that, I feel, candidly. Again, recently we spoke about a specific movie that has inspired you. You have recently posted things on Instagram, for example, that are based off of that features.
Oh yeah.
Could you explain to us, what that movie is and what it has done to your creativity and its inspiration and why it's pushed you in this direction and what it means? What can we expect based off of that?
Yeah, so I recently watched The Florida Project, which is an A24 movie, and it really is one of the best movies that I've seen in a long time. And I mean, the first thing you'll notice when you watch the movie is just how beautiful every shot is, how kind of masterful the cinematography was. And it really reminded me like just how powerful, cinema and like videography can be for bringing back these like nostalgic feelings. And I thought it was just such a wonderful representation of what, childhood wonder is really like. And if you look at, my Instagram account or like my TikTok, you can see that I made an animation actually inspired by the motel in that movie there a couple weeks ago.
The Florida Project kind of encapsulates and presents to you childhood wonder, nostalgia, the concept of the world could be dilapidated all around you, but there's still wonder that you can find as a child, right? You know, as like
Exactly.
as a
Yeah.
kid, no matter what's going on, no matter your living situation, you tend to make the best out of it, you know, as a kid, based out of the wonderment and just that feeling of just being young, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And you don't have all these things weighing down on you. And I feel like for people like you and myself and others who work within like a kind of like a liminal atmospheric vibe, we're really trying to grasp at that, not for the sense of just nostalgia, because of course nostalgia will always come from it, but I feel like we're also we're also telling people that, hey, you know, maybe we should try to capture that sort of wonderment again in some capacity. You know, a lot of us have been through so many things, you know, as adults now, young and old. And of course, we've got a lot of stuff weighing down on us, but I feel like it's necessary as humans for us to kind of like sit back and take in that wonderment every now and again. And as I stated in a previous video that I made, I focused on a bench on a what I would consider an underutilized train station in Japan, and I really wanted to focus on the concept of taking a break and stop. You know, just pause and take in the world around you. And choosing to do that within a setting that is run down, grimy, you know, and not like beautiful in any way. Um, but it kind of goes to show you that, yeah, you can find that wonderment. You can find like little things here and there in your peripheral that you kind of miss. And I feel like, you know, the Florida project kind of brings that out. You know, there's like shots of that I really love with the different colored houses, where it's like you have like the
Hmm.
teal, the yellow, the pink houses, and then the big motel, which is all just in complete pink, pretty much. You know, it sticks out like a sore thumb, but
Yeah.
it's all on its own. Like, what do you like? What do you feel like when you see that motel, when you see those houses, especially with the camera panning across with like the kids walking across in an overgrown yard, you know, for example? What do you what did you feel whenever you saw those shots? Like what I guess there's a lot of inspiration that came from that. There's a lot of things that became a catalyst for you now.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it really brings back sort of that feeling of childhood wonder. And some of those shots too in the Florida project, um, the area that the movie is set in, I mean, it is like it's a tourist area, right? It's like right outside of Orlando, outside of Disney World. And for a lot of people, that kind of is the definition of a liminal space, right? That's like the place you just passed by as a kid on a
Yeah.
road trip.
Yeah.
And then when you think back to it, it's just this kind of strange feeling you get. It's not quite nostalgia, but it's something adjacent to that. And I think one of the things that I love about making these videos is I'm kind of trying to prove that like that feeling is still out there and you can still, feel those things, even just through like seeing this type of media.
That's really that makes oops. That's really good. That's honestly that's extremely validating to hear. And I think for a lot of people that want to focus on art like this, or can, you know, or watch or, you know, see or purchase art that kind of, you know, goes in this direction, I feel like that's a very validating thing for us to hear, especially from somebody who creates things in within the same kind of avenue. um I feel like one of the things that struck me was the shot of the two girls running towards the motel, and then you have like the rainbow. It's been
Mhm.
posted pretty much everywhere, and it's like I don't know how else to explain it. It is despite them running towards what would be considered like, homelessness, it still had a bit of, it still does have like wonder to it. And I remember like as a kid, like it's like I went to Florida, I was in Florida for a little bit when I was a kid, and I bounced between like my parents' house and like other family members as well. But when I was in Florida with my parents, I remember being in Orlando in the 90s as well. And it really is, it's so much different now than it was back then. When I did return there eventually later on as an adult, I was like, it's so different. But there's still little bits and pieces out there. Like finding that one store or that one place that I would go to, like Ripley's Believe It or Not, the museum was still there. And I was like, that's so strange. And it kind of made me stop in place. So I don't know. I can go on and on and on about it, but it's always really nice to be able to relate to another artist over this concept of liminality. And um, wanting to do other things is kind of like a really important part of the creative process for any artist. And so you are staying within kind of a liminal vibe there, but are there other things that you're starting to branch off to that's not specifically liminal space or just like nostalgic ambient stuff? You are working on like music things perhaps?
Yeah, yeah. I guess at the moment that isn't. Yeah, it's not too connected to my like main things yet, but yeah, I have started working on a lot of music. That's just been a very exciting like avenue to go down as a creative. Getting to work with a lot of different music artists that I looked up to and have respected for so long, and then actually getting to make art with them. And that kind of stuff is going to get incorporated pretty soon into my content as like I'm working on OSTs and whatnot. Because I've had a lot of people ask over the years about music in my videos, mainly like music producers and people that make music asking if they could make music for me. And in the past, I have like said like I appreciate the offer, but I don't really have any content to put that in right now. But I am working on content at the moment that is definitely gonna have music play a big role in it.
And is it music that other people are working on for you, or is it music that you've created yourself?
It's all stuff that I've produced. I guess that's something I really have talked about too much, but I've been a musician pretty much my whole life. Been playing piano pretty much ever since I can remember, and I've been playing jazz piano for about like 7 or 8 years
Hell
now.
yeah.
And recently, I've gotten into like proper music production.
See, that's why I love doing these things, so that we can talk about these other facets that, make you who you are. And your music has been already featured in pool room stuff and your recent or like some of your videos already. You've already had a shot of you like playing the piano in one of your videos. Like that's
Yeah,
straight
that's
up you,
right.
right?
Forget about that. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I think that's technically the one time so far that I've gotten to use my music in one of my videos.
there you go. You've already been at it since like the very beginning.
That's right. Yeah.
Um, I'm very much looking forward to, seeing you progress as a producer. I feel like um you definitely know, what to do when it comes down to sound and music and things like that. Those are just, I feel like a lot of us who work with this sort of stuff kind of like have an ear for music as well. I can't begin to explain to you, like, I can't begin to just run down, like, honestly, the concept of music sound is so important to, work that you and I do.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah. So, ambience, the atmosphere, everything boils down to like what people can hear. Because a lot of times, excuse me.
That's one interesting thing actually is like it's funny that you bring that up because pretty much when you messaged me about, getting on this call. Not too long ago, I was partway through watching I Saw the TV Glow by A24,
Oh my
and it
gosh.
has some absolutely stunning shots, these big wide
I'm
shots of like the tree line with the sunset in the background. But
yes.
I was really thinking about like how much the sound makes those shots and how different it would be with no sound, without being able to hear the,
Yes.
leaves ruffling in the wind and that kind of thing.
That's so important. I'm so glad that you're bringing that movie up. It's one of my favorite films. I watched it recently in a theater in Tokyo. I'm so happy I got a chance to watch it. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, well, no
Like,
spoilers because I'm about halfway through.
oh, you're about halfway through. I'm not going to say anything. No, and like other people who haven't watched it, go watch it. It's really good. It's a feast for the eyes and ears. And it's an emotional one. It's pretty heavy. And I think you're gonna enjoy the rest of it, for sure. But
Yeah,
it
I'm
is,
excited.
after watching that, I was so inspired. There's definitely a message in there that obviously I can't talk about right now, that would potentially spoil it, but it definitely, how do I say this? It lit a fire under my ass to do certain things creatively and get the ball rolling. I feel like there's such a huge message with that movie. I Saw the TV Glow is so good. The music is great. The sound is great. Another one that's really good that kind of like it's more horror than anything else, but It Follows. If you haven't seen that, go watch it. It's a strange one, but the music and the atmosphere is so spot on. If you have you seen that, Matt? Have you seen It Follows?
I've not, no.
Oh, go watch it. Go watch
I'll
it.
add that to the list.
Yeah, go watch that. And some people may or may not like it. It's kind of polarized. In terms, is the movie Long Legs.
I haven't seen that either.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage is in it. That's all I'm gonna say. But it was really good, and it also has Micah Monroe, who was also, she's like in many horror films anyway. Uh, but Micah she was in It Follows as well. So I don't know. Maybe anything that she works on is pretty good when it comes to horror. But Matt, do you have any like big projects that you're working on? You can't necessarily talk about, but do you have any big projects? Do you have any other videos that are going to drop on YouTube? Do you have anything big that's happening? I kind of want to talk about that before the end of the interview.
Yeah, so I am working on a new series, and I'm not too far into it yet, so I haven't like started production for the first episode, but I'm working on getting that written and getting sets designed and whatnot, and I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, not too much to say about that.
Hmm.
Um, I guess what I would say about it is one of kind of the bigger catalysts for me wanting to kind of branch out a little bit from a creative sense recently, funny enough, has been playing Deltarune for the first time. I'd actually never played like any sort of RPG game before, nothing like that.
Really?
Um, yeah, but I really liked playing that game, and I just really appreciated like the storytelling and the atmosphere it was able to build. And I really am wanting now to focus more on not just focusing on the settings, right? Because all of my previous videos have pretty much just been, we're taking a setting in an environment and we're going to walk through it. And you're going to get to like enjoy the atmosphere. But for the most part, it's mainly just a set walkthrough. But
Yeah.
I really want to make something a lot more this time. Um,
Like, what do you mean? Like, give it more life, or?
Yeah, just more things happening, more dynamic, but like also things like characters, dialogue, that sort of thing.
Okay.
I want it to be like more of a, like an actual experience
Okay.
than just, we're just seeing these beautiful sets. But like don't get me wrong, the sets are going to play just as big of a role in this as they have in any of my other content. If anything, hopefully they'll be better because I think I've, only just over time gotten a better understanding of kind of, what I like about certain sets and certain architecture.
Yeah, and the sets themselves are the biggest character. The sets themselves are a character. So like
Yeah.
you're perfecting that. That's really exciting to hear. I can't wait to see you start to throw in more. And when I hear stuff like writing and script, I'm like really excited, because that means you're starting to like branch into like other things that you haven't done before. You kind of like touch the base a little bit, you know, you kind of went into that just a little bit in the beginning of some of the stuff that you worked on, when it revealed another person behind the glass. But I know what you were trying to do there. You were trying to kind of like, you didn't know where you were going to go with your series. So you kind of like, after that, you said, nah, I'm not going to bother with that. It's just going to be this dude or set of people who are like walking through and exploring, you know? And
yeah, it was a bit of like a Stranger Things season 5 event. It's like we're gonna set it up. So, you know, something could happen, something might not. We don't know, but we're just gonna we're gonna keep producing it and see what happens. But my goal is to not do that with my next series.
But you've done an excellent job, you know, and I'm really happy that you're experimenting while you're posting. It's super important for us to do that as artists,
Sure.
and I'm glad that you're doing that. I'm really excited to see what is in store for the channel, and I can't wait for people to, you know, be able to get some behind the scenes stuff. And if you're comfortable with it, I would love to perhaps post this TikTok as well, like bits and pieces of it, to kind of pull people to watch some of the behind the scenes stuff for you. And I would love to get the images too, to see the back and forth, or excuse me, the before and after, or side by side comparisons, I mean, of some of the shots regarding color grading. And I don't know, maybe you can do that for the maybe you can do that for that one part of the set piece that I utilized for my stream that you made for me. We haven't talked about that before.
Oh yeah.
But Matt created this amazing animation for my stream. It's part of my intro for my Twitch stream. And he created the most amazing like no clip and everything, and put my pizza place in there, and it's like so cool. The fact that you made that based off
stream, I think the stream starting soon shot actually has like a very similar aesthetic to the like I saw the TV Glow.
That's true.
Color grading too.
That's true, and that was also another thing that you made some incredible stuff for that. Like there's the starting soon scene, the starting soon screen. Hold on, the starting soon. Let me try that again. The starting soon scene that I have on Twitch is phenomenal, and it's like I'll show it here, which showcases the cat clock on the wall, the VHS tape, and it has like the TV that shows the pizza place that we also do for the intro, and you have the set of stairs and everything. I love it. I had so many people comment on how creepy how creepy the stairs are because of the fans like shadow. Like people love that part. They love it. And it's I'm so happy that I have that. Like that's going to be with me for so fucking long. Like it's so cool. I'm so glad that, that we were able to work on that. But yeah, I'm excited to see, you know, what's in store for the channel and for everything else that you're working on, Matt. Folks, if you haven't already, make sure to check out Matt Studio Animations on YouTube, Instagram, as well as on TikTok. He is on all of those platforms. I think you're more focusing right now on posting your short form content on TikTok and Instagram. Matt is leaving the YouTube channel for just the long form content for right now. But please support Matt. Check out his work. It's phenomenal. You will not be disappointed at all. I placed a link in the description below so that all of you can check it out for yourselves. Thank you everybody for your time. Thanks for hanging out. And Matt, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope that we get a chance to chat again sometime soon.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me. You always bring such a good perspective to these kind of conversations, and I think they're really important to be having with artists.
Thank you, Matt. That means a lot. Thank you, Matt. I'll catch you later, buddy. I'll see you later.
See ya. Thanks.
See ya.